when you're okay.
Okay, we're ready.
Okay, I just said, do I hit continue or leave? No, I just hit continue or do I
No, you
leave?
just, you're on. Go ahead and start.
Okay, the Braintree Board of Health meeting will now come to order via a Zoom meeting. It is July 15th, 2021. Present, Mary Beth McGrath, Department of, getting all screwed up here. Department of Municipal Licenses and Inspections Director. Dr. Philip Nettleman, Vice Chairman, Dr. Arthur Bergoli, Chairman, and Juliana Melchiondo at the present time is not here, but we will begin the meeting.
Okay, just need a roll call if you could both, oh, actually Juliana's coming on right now.
Okay.
Hey, Juliana.
Continue with this.
You guys, how are we?
Hey, Juliana, how are you?
We're to the
Good,
point
how
in the
are you?
meeting where they're doing a roll call. So you could just announce your names that you're here.
Alrighty.
Dr. Juliana,
Juliana Melchiondo is here.
Dr. Nelman,
I'm here.
Dr. Bergoli.
I'm here.
Okay, thank you.
Board of Health meeting agenda, July 15th, 2021 is 2 pages. Approval of the meeting minutes, May 13th, 2021, 3 pages.
I move minutes be approved as read.
Which
Juliana,
one? The May 20, the May?
May
The May
13th.
13th.
Okay,
I approve.
you second that, Juliana, all in favor? Aye.
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 okay, and I just need a roll call. Juliana,
Yes.
Dr. Nettleman,
Yes.
Dr. Bergoli.
Yes.
Thank you.
And again, approval of meeting minutes, June 10th, 2021, 2 pages. Do we have a
I move
motion
they
to
be
approve?
approved as read.
Juliana, a second?
Yes.
And all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And a roll call, Juliana,
Yes.
Dr. Nettleman,
Yes.
and Dr. Bergoli.
Yes.
Thank you.
List of complaints received from June 7th, 2021 through July 9th, 2021. Mary Beth to discuss.
Yes. So as we've kind of wound down the COVID restrictions, which were removed on May 29th, we started seeing a definite decline in complaints that we would be following up on for enforcement on mask mandates, on social distancing and things of that nature. So now we're kind of back to some of the norm that we were seeing in the past. Some things that we've seen a little bit of an uptick in are rodent complaints, trash complaints, and animal manure complaints, which the animal and trash are not necessarily, we don't have any set times of year that would happen. But of course, there's more activity out and about. So I think, and more people are out and about. So we're seeing those sorts of things increasing. We are seeing an uptick, a little bit of an uptick in some rodent activity. And some of the things that I found are contributing to those are a lot of people putting bird feeders and that sort of thing back out. And the one particular area, it was definitely attracting rodent activity. So for the time being in that area, I've told them not to place out any bird feed, anything that could contribute to food and water source for the rodents. And so the other areas I'm looking at too, some could be associated with construction, others as well as people putting more feed out, and gardens are out, people planting their gardens again. And those are all sources that contribute to rodent activity.
Mary Beth, did you see anything recently about the state recommending that bird feeders be taken in? Because
I literally just saw that on the news this evening, that I don't know if it's the state health department or it could be the State Department of Ag. They're I guess, going to be sending out notification as an advisory to take down bird feeders and bird baths because of some sort of virus that they're seeing in other parts of the country that are impacting birds. And they're trying to alleviate it coming from the Massachusetts area. They're asking for several weeks to take in bird feeders and bird baths. But I haven't seen anything formally from the state come through the health department.
you'll let us know.
I will.
Thank you.
Okay, new business. 1, request for variance of well regulation, 2 pages. A, Joseph Eck, 80 Hollingsworth Avenue, setbacks to property line and roadway, well variance request and supporting documentation, 9 pages.
Yes, and I believe Mr. Eck is on the Zoom meeting. If he would like to unmute himself and possibly on video, look, if he wants to click it, there he is. Hi,
There
Mr.
he
Eck,
is.
how are you?
Hello, all.
Hey, Mr. Eck, how are you?
Great to see you.
Good to
So
see you.
Mr. Eck lives at 80 Hollingsworth Ave, and he at present has an existing well, and I'm going to let him speak to the reason he's seeking a request for a new well and to abandon his old well. But he is seeking a request to install a new well on his property. And if you go into your packets, the 4th page in is the area map of where he's located on the corner of Weston Ave and Hollingsworth Ave. And if you go a little bit further in, there's a plot plan that shows where the proposed well would be going. And it would be on the western side of the Western Ave side of his property. About 11 foot off of the dwelling, 73 foot off of Hollingsworth Ave, 26 feet off of Weston Ave, and greater than 25 feet off of the back property line. So since this is somewhat of an interesting situation, we're looking for, well, not only a property line variance from Weston, but a roadway variance. His technical mailing address is on Hollingsworth, but he happens to be on a corner in which he has 2 roadways abutting his property, both Weston and Hollingsworth. So we thought the best way to cover this, both property line and roadway, is to seek a request for variance of roadway from 100-foot setback to 73 feet to Hollingsworth and 26 feet to Weston, as well as the property line setback, just to cover ourselves. And Mr. Eck, can you advise the board, has the existing well failed, or is you just not able to pump water anymore?
Yeah, it doesn't pump any water anymore. We've had this problem actually since we were putting it right next to where we did before, and we got a variance back in 1998. And the well held up. We had it fracked twice. And at this juncture, it just doesn't produce water. So literally we're putting it in the same spot and we're moving it like 10 or 12 feet to the right of where it is. And we can't drill in the same spot, but we're planning on drilling further. We only went down 380 feet originally because I was poor back then, and probably should have gone down to 500 or 600 feet. So that's what we're planning on doing this time. So again, same location, asking for the same variance that we got back in 1998. And there's no other place to put it on the property. You can't get the equipment anywhere to drill. So, and that was what we asked for originally.
Right. So and I believe to the rear, behind the house is a garage, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a garage there, and then on the right, we'd have to go through our neighbors to get there, and obviously, we're not going to ask them to do that.
Right. So Mr. Eck's intention through his well driller is they will abandon the existing well that was there and then go ahead and drill the new well. And all of the direct abutters, there are 5 of them, have been notified of the intention to install the well and the need for variance for those 2, the roadway and the property line. I've not heard from any of the direct abutters, either for or against.
Do you keep a record of the fact, though, that they were sent certified letters?
Yeah, we do. I have the certified mailings, yep, and that they were sent certified.
Okay, I move it be approved.
Does the water, electric, and gas service, do those have to be notified or no? Not sure.
There is a requirement that they have to be so far. There's a distance requirement from those utilities. And if there's any impact to them, then they would have to be notified. Additionally, the well driller, if there was any impact to those utilities, they have to notify DigSafe. That's a requirement.
Gotcha.
That's something that the well people do also, don't they?
Right.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, we just had a family event and we put a tent up in the backyard, so we know exactly where the gas line is. And obviously we'll do that again when they come and do the drilling in the fall.
All right, I made a motion to approve.
Yeah. Juliana, would you like to second that motion?
Yes, I will second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And a roll call, Juliana,
Yes.
Dr. Nettleman,
Yes,
and Dr. Bergoli.
Yes,
Okay, thank you. So Mr. Eck, what will happen tomorrow is we will prepare the permit to issue to you. And then also, if you could provide a copy of that, we'll give you a copy for your well driller.
Awesome. I really
Okay.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank
good
you.
luck.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
B, Sunny Cheng, 91 Messina Woods Drive, setbacks to property line and roadway, well variance request and supporting documentation, 9 pages.
So I do not believe that the applicants, the remaining applicants are on the line. I don't see them on the line, so I can present for them. If any of you are familiar with the area, Messina Woods Drive is located off of Liberty Street, almost behind the Stop and Shop Plaza.
Gotcha.
And so you would go into it through Messina Woods Drive and it kind of loops around. So I've provided the third and fourth page in, gives you an area map and the unmarked street off of Liberty, that's Messina Woods Drive. The triangular shaped property that is marked, the mapping that the town has was older than the development. So that's why there's no street addresses for them. But the triangular marking is where number 91 is located. And further in, you can see a plot plan, not only a plot plan we've drawn up when we've done the site visit, but also a plot plan by the property owner. And so they're looking for a setback to the property line and the roadway. And this particular property is an interesting property because a portion of it is on so the very top corner of it is on Jensen Farm Road. And then the remainder of it is on Messina Woods Drive. So the loop, the circular loop, that's Messina Woods Drive. The straight road area, that's Jensen Farm. So again, we're in that peculiar position as we were with Mr. X property, is that we need a roadway setback requirement and a property line setback requirement. So roadway, physical legal roadway address is Messina Woods Drive, and they can get 60 feet to the roadway. The side property line, which would be closest at 5 feet, is abutting the Jensen Farm roadway. Now, again, we need to remember that the roadway also provides a further distance to other properties. So we recommend the approval of this variance because it's not going to impact another property as like a residential property. So it's the roadway that it would abut, but it remains on his property. So we have no problem with issuing it. It's just kind of they're right on the corner there, a triangular corner where they're abutting 2 roadways. So we need to get the physical legal setback approval and then the side property line approval.
Yeah, it was a little
Mary-
confusing. but
Mary
that-
Beth, I have a question.
Yes.
I believe that this request and the next one are adjacent to one another,
They are.
and they each have a 5-foot setback from their adjacent. I mean, this may
From-
sound silly, but can't they get together and maybe put one in on the line?
Well, the problem with that, and believe me, neighbors have tried to do that, but you can't cross the property lines. I mean,
Okay.
legally, for our purposes, you can't cross the property lines. Now, say a person put a well in and after we removed ourselves from the whole process, they decided later down the road they wanted to do that. That's a private matter. But if a property were to sell and they share a well, I could see that being a huge legal issue,
Okay, you're right,
especially if you don't get along with your neighbor.
right.
Okay, Juliana, would you like to put forth a motion?
I will put forth a motion and approve.
I second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And roll call, Juliana,
Yes.
Dr. Nettleman,
Yes,
Dr. Bergoli.
Yes.
Thank you.
C, Michael Nguyen, 41 Jensen Farm Road, setbacks to property line, well variance request and supporting documentation, 9 pages.
And as Dr. Nettleman mentioned, the agenda item you just took up is in a butter to this property. This property, again, is another triangular shaped property. However, their roadway is Jensen Farm Road. And they're adjacent to number 91 Messina Woods Drive and number 41 Messina Woods Drive. And they are looking for a setback to the property line only. Actually, no, I take that back, to the roadway and the property line. So they can only get 60 feet to the roadway and 5 feet to the side property line, which abuts number 91 Messina Woods Drive. These are these, as you can see, these lots are all triangular shaped, so they're a very odd size, which is why they're requesting the variances, because the way, wherever they position the well on the property, it's going to need a variance of some setback, which was similar to the other one.
I
And
move,
we have been on site. We recommend approval.
I move it be approved.
I second that motion.
All in favor? Aye.
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 And roll call, Juliana,
Yes.
Dr. Nettleman,
Yes,
and Dr. Bergoli.
Yes.
Thank you.
D, Anton Truong, 47 Fallon Circle, setback to roadway, well variance request and supporting documentation, 5 pages.
This property is located in what is termed as Granite Park, which is directly across the street from the South Shore Plaza. It's on the corner of Fallon Circle and Eleanor Drive. And they are, this is a somewhat smaller property too. They're requesting a variance of the roadway setback only to Fallon Circle, and they cannot meet the 100-foot setback. They can only meet a 32-foot setback to the roadway. All the abutters on all of the wells have been notified. You can see the abutters here. They have 3 abutters, and all have been notified and have done a sign off, and which you have in your packet. Not heard from any of the abutters. We have been on site to do a site visit and foresee no problems. Again, this would be closest to the roadway, which provides another buffer between this property and other properties across the street.
you have a recommendation?
We recommend approval.
Juliana, would you like to set forth a motion?
I can put forth the motion for approval.
The second,
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
aye,
And roll call, Juliana,
Yes.
Dr. Nettleman,
yes,
and Dr. Bergoli.
Yes.
Thank you. And so that's all that I have on the agenda for specific items. I did want to mention to you that you see the daily COVID numbers that we're sending to you on a routine basis. Braintree has been doing very well, going between 0 to 3 cases within the last many weeks, which we're really pleased about. We hope that we continue that trend. I will tell you, I'm always on the alert, and I work very closely with Carolyn Moore, our part-time public health nurse that's assisting us. She does the contact tracing and numbers for me every day. And I know that you probably are aware across the country, they're seeing some increases in cases. So we're definitely on the alert for that. A lot of the cases are those that are fully vaccinated and they're getting COVID. So those are things that we're keeping an eye on. Of course, there are a lot of rec camps that are operating and we haven't had any incidents, which we're really pleased about. School will be starting up within a month and a half or so. So we'll definitely be keeping a very close eye to see what happens there. I don't have any new guidelines for school operations as far as COVID, but I would imagine and hope that that would be coming out well before school begins in September. So.
do you have any information on that new school that the Archdiocese is planning to open?
I don't have any information specifically other than in order to open a private school like that, they do need a consent, I guess you would call it, from a local public health school district, which they did go through the Braintree Public Schools to seek that endorsement or approval, whatever you call it.
Okay,
I don't, apparently it's my understanding it's supposed to be possibly cited in the actual Archdiocesan building on
Yeah.
66 Brooks Drive.
yeah,
But I don't have any details about its size or what the programming will be.
okay, thank you.
And
Yeah.
then lastly, as you know, we have been doing beach testing, which we started beach testing the 3rd week in June, just prior to the waterfront program opening in which they staffed the lake with lifeguards. Doing well up to last week when we hit a spike in our number at Smith Beach, which is not unusual given the extremely heavy rain that we had. So Smith Beach, unlike Sunset Lake, and Sunset Lake is its own body of water. It's a lake, so nothing feeds into it. There's a spring, but there are no tide changes. The Smith Beach is a marine body of water, and it has tide changes every 12 hours. The other impacts to Smith Beach are when we have heavy, significant rain like we've had, what happens is it ends up, there's so much water going into all systems like stormwater drains, also into the sewer manholes, and it basically surcharges the sewer system to where it's ready to overflow, and they have to relieve the pressure, and that the DEP allows them to pump into the Manaco River, that body of water. So unfortunately, that ends up on the tail side of it impacting, to some degree, Smith Beach and the marine water because of the tide changes. So the beach was closed last week when we got the results, and I kept it closed because we kept getting so much heavy rain that the number wasn't going to change in that short period of time. So I retested again yesterday. The results did come back within a satisfactory level, but now I'm getting to the point where I have to calculate what's called there's a single sample count that we do every week. And then after a 5-week period, I have to calculate what's called the geometric mean, which is an average of the results for the past 5 weeks. We're not quite there yet, but because of the higher numbers, it would not be surprising if I had to close Smith again once I do that calculation, because now it would have exceeded the geometric mean calculation. So, but we'll see how that plays out over the next 2 weeks.
Thank you.
So, and
you.
we're looking into, so at Sunset Lake, we test the water at the beach side. So right off of the parking lot, you walk across the sand and you can walk right into the water. That's where we test it because that's where the swim area is. But the lake is also used for boating purposes, both not only through the town, but also Thayer Academy uses the boating. They do boating activities. There has been, within the last day or so, some blooms of algae over on the high school side, which is Town Road side of where there was a boat launch. So I'm going to be looking into that. But water quality wise, the bacterial level has come back fine, which is a good thing. So I don't know if the algae is a direct result of the heavy rains and possibly the heat and humidity, which it could be, but I'll check with the lab and see if they can help us with some answers to that and connect back with you.
Thank you.
And that's all I have, folks.
Okay. Dr. Nettleman,
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Quick question. What is our town's policy on homeless people?
So we have, well,
give them a bus ticket.
there's not necessarily a policy, Juliana, but when we're brought into it, we work pretty closely with the police department, and we have a relationship with Father Bill's. It's a shelter in Quincy that assists us with homeless activity. We also work as well with Manette Community Health Center, who to some degree have an established relationship with some of the homeless population because of maybe the nature of activities they may be involved in. So we try and all coordinate those efforts to try and assist those that are homeless.
Gotcha.
Is there a concern that you may have?
I've personally seen a homeless man hanging out under the bridge in between like the McDonald's and the Shaw's.
Okay, I'm going to guess that the police department are familiar and aware of the
Yeah,
individual.
it's a very heavy traffic area.
Yes.
Someone had to have called by now.
Well, the interesting piece to the homeless population, we did at one time, and it pops up more frequently than we would like. Behind Skyline Apartments is what's called Eaton's Pond, which abuts the Quincy line.
Yeah.
And there's a whole wooded area in there. We have a ranger that patrols that area because very, very, very often homeless encampments pop up, and we need to have them removed from the encampments because it's a safety hazard and nothing besides being a danger. And there were benches in a lot of the squares, and the maintenance on those benches where you sit were becoming so much because they were becoming beds for the homeless population.
Yeah.
So some of them have been removed because of the maintenance issues were just becoming more than DPW could keep up with. So, I mean, with the removal of the benches, it actually helped. I hate to say this in a bad way, it actually helped with the homeless population. Because they're not making the
That makes
homeless.
sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah. So I'll reach out to the police department and make them aware that there's been some sightings of homeless under that bridge.
All right, awesome.
So a motion has been put forth. If we have nothing else, Juliana,
I will second that motion.
all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And roll call, Juliana
Yes.
and Dr. Nettleman
Yes,
and Dr. Regoli.
Yes.
Great, thank you.
thank you.
guys
Yeah,
next
it's on
month.
August.
Go have a nice time, Philip.
Okay, take care.
Thank you.
Bye, Juliana.
Bye-bye.
Have a good one.
Bye.